Hey everyone, so I've been meaning to put together a short video to address the biggest myths that I come across with renters. And it just so happened that a few weeks ago there was something that came up in the real estate community that is particularly relevant for this, and that is Gary Vee coming out. There was a clip that went viral, at least in the real estate community it did, talking about the fact that homeownership is no longer the American dream and that it is a terrible use of upfront capital and that he will be renting in perpetuity. And so you can see why that message would have caused a little bit of uproar in the real estate community, but it also got me thinking about the common things that I see as misconceptions with renters in terms of taking that step into home ownership. And some of them are really relevant for what he said. So the first one is the point that it's a terrible use of upfront capital. What that corresponds to is this misconception that you need 20% down to buy a house. And I can tell you that most of my first-time buyers put down between 0 and 5%. And very few of my buyers put down 20% or more. So the fact that one of his points was about the use of upfront capital, that to me doesn't make tons of sense because we're in a position right now where money is still so cheap. If you look at interest rates over the last 30 years, money is still so cheap. And with these low down payment options, you're not really tying up a lot of upfront capital. Now, he's come out since then and kind of given this more context. And one of the things that he was actually referring to is when you have entrepreneurs who are taking capital that could be invested in their business and putting it into property. And his point was that the ROI on that money could be far higher if it was dedicated to the business as opposed to the house. And that's a point that I really 100% agree with. So he was saying that was taken a little bit out of context, and getting that additional information, it makes more sense. But it definitely corresponds to something that I see people commonly think, which is I need 20% down or I can't buy a house. And so that's kind of myth number one. Myth number two is the fact that a lot of times people will say, well, Danielle, if I pay rent, if I continue renting, I won't be paying property taxes. I won't be paying for maintenance on this property. I won't be paying for HOA or condo dues. And we really kind of step back, and I explain to them how all of this works. But the point is that whether you are physically seeing those things being paid for coming out of your account, whether you're paying your own mortgage or your landlord's mortgage, those fees are coming out of your pocket. Landlords have investment property because it is a profitable business, and those numbers are baked into your monthly rent. So before you think that you're somehow saving that money, please recognize that regardless of whether you see it or not, that's coming out of your pocket. So that's kind of myth number two. Myth number three is that people oftentimes think that they can't afford what they want. And really the way to dig down to whether that's actually true or not, and I will tell you a lot of times once people start really looking at the numbers, they see and are pleasantly surprised. There's a lot of times that for the same amount that you're paying in rent, you can own an equivalent property. And I saw this, I've put something out on Facebook and Instagram over the last week or so to say, hey, message me your monthly rent and I'll send you a house that is the equivalent in a monthly mortgage payment. And I've interacted with a few people that were really surprised at what that money can buy them. So those are kind of the three myths that I see within the rental community and what really holds people back from taking that step into home ownership. I think that the other thing about the Gary Vee message was about the fact that he was trying to imply that it's no longer the American dream. And I just can't see how that would ever be the case. It is something that brings so much joy and so much financial freedom, and it's such an unbelievable way to build long-term wealth. And I'm going to do another video on the numbers behind this. And when you get to 50, 60, 65 years old, a renter versus a homeowner and their difference in wealth at that time, the numbers just don't lie. But I wanted to address in this video about those 3 rental myths. So if you are interested to see what monthly mortgage payment on a property would be that's equivalent to your rent, please send me a message. And thank God for sunglasses. It's St. Jude Radiothon Day on 93.3. So if you're a country music fan, even if you're not a country music fan, go on over there, become a partner in hope. You have to listen to like one story before you realize that it's important. So, yep, talk to you guys soon.